Good morning. So I'm on this health kick lately and I've been trying to make healthier foods, but I'm stuck with loads and loads of flour and sugar and all kinds of stuff that I shouldn't be eating. So I have pest control done monthly at my house, not because I have any bugs, but because I don't want any bugs. So I decided, let me make my bug man some banana nut muffins. And I just so happen to have some way ripe banana nut muffins, which I actually had put in the freezer. Once they get like this, I put them in the freezer and then I just defrost them and use them. So we're gonna be using these today. But first we're gonna go ahead and start off with some flour. Let me go ahead and this is 1.5 cups of flour, and I'm only making one batch today. So 1.5 cups of flour. I'm gonna sift that along with one teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmegs. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my sifter as well and sift this together. We'll just sift that through. Okay, I'm also gonna add 3/4 cups of sugar here. I'll just go ahead and sift that as well. And then that concludes our dry ingredients. Let's go ahead and mix this up together a little bit. And then I'll set that aside. Then we're gonna go ahead and I'll just use the same bowl that I have my flour in. I'm gonna mash my bananas in here. Okay, I've got my bananas in here. They're still kind of frozen, that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of mash them up with my little whisk here. Now this recipe actually calls for 3 bananas, but I only had 2. And that's okay. So what you can do to make up for the moisture is you can add maybe a couple tablespoons of applesauce. Now I was gonna use my applesauce, but I haven't used it in a little bit, and I opened it up and I had a little bit of mold on top of it. So I'm not gonna use the applesauce. So what else can I use? Well, you can use some sour cream or you can use some Greek yogurt. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna add a dollop of Greek yogurt in here. So I have my Greek yogurt. And I'm just gonna add, I don't know, like about a tablespoon and a half of Greek yogurt. So I'm just gonna get that mixed in. Now, along with, I'm such a klutz in the kitchen, making a mess. So I'm also gonna add a beaten egg. Beat 1 egg in there. I'll add that in. And then we're gonna add some butter. And this is 1/3 cup of butter, melted and cooled. So make sure it's not warm. I'm gonna add that in as well. And we'll just mix this up with the mashed bananas, the Greek yogurt, and the butter. Now, if you have 3 mashed bananas, don't add the Greek yogurt. You can if you want to, but it would probably take longer to cook. So now we're gonna go ahead and combine everything together. Move that aside. We'll combine this together. My bugman says he's gonna be here between 9 and 10, and it's like 8:30 right now, so hopefully he'll be here closer to 10. Because if he comes too early, then he's not gonna get any of this. Oh, I forgot the vanilla, super important. About 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I just measure with my heart. And then when you're making muffins, you have to fold all the ingredients in. Don't stir it. Don't put it in the mixer. Just fold everything together. I just realized that I forgot to add my walnuts. So I'm gonna add about maybe 3/4 cups of walnuts. And I have them kind of roughly chopped, if you see there. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some walnuts there. get that folded in. And I just want to show you again, in case you didn't see earlier, fold over, scoop, fold over, get those sides, fold over. And the one trick about muffins is you do not want to over mix the muffins. They'll get a little tough. The crown on top, it'll be peaked up instead of nice and round. So don't over mix the muffins. And another thing about muffin mix is that once you finish the mix, you want to let it sit there in the pan or in the cups for 10 minutes before you put it in the oven. So this is all done. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. And you don't have to do this, but this is optional. I'm going to go ahead and make a topping. I'm going to go ahead and make a topping with about 3/4 cups of nuts, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, light brown, dark brown, doesn't really matter. Dark brown has a little bit more molasses than the regular brown sugar. And then I have about 2 tablespoons of butter in here. I'm going to use that and get that mixed together. So I'm mixing the nut mixture together, the nut mixture with the brown sugar. I wanted to mention, a lot of people don't know this. I didn't know this, and I've been baking for years. It's kind of stupid that I didn't know it, but whatever. Your nuts, these nuts, they should be frozen. So, you know, if you're not going to use them right away, freeze them. So I froze them and I put the expiration date on here. And I learned my lesson because back for Christmas a few years ago, I had made some cookies. And I'm usually the baker to my family, and I'm the one that brings all the stuff, you know, for parties and such. And they were eating one of my chocolate chip walnut cookies, and the nuts were rancid because the oils ended up getting them a little rancid. Okay, so I've got all my mixtures together. I'm gonna go ahead and get my pans, and we'll be back to fill these. Okay, so my mix has been sitting there for about 10 minutes. I bought these at Amazon. These are some cupcake liners, and I like them. I think they're maybe like $7.99 or something like that. And then I have an ice cream scoop. It's a big scoop. I'm going to be using this. And we're just going to go ahead and try to fill these to the top. I'm thinking we are only going to make about 5 or 6 muffins. So let me just show you here how. Go ahead and fill them here. And I do like to space the liners apart. I'm going to put 1 scoop in each liner first. See if you can see that. 1 scoop in each liner first. And if we have extra, we'll go back and we'll add. It's okay if they come out a little smaller for me, because remember, we're still going to add the nut topping as well. So we'll go ahead and add these. Okay, so my bug man got here a little bit early, so I'm going to try to hurry these up. He's got to do another house, and then he'll come back pick these up. So I've got my my walnut mixture, and I'm going to go ahead and top these muffins with this. Okay, so I have those all topped with the nut brown sugar mixture. And then what I like to do is I like to leave 1 slot for a little bit of water. So I'm going to add some hot water to these. This just to make sure that the muffins are moist. And then most recipes will tell you just bake them at 350 degrees. Well, I like to bake it at about 400, 420 for about 10 minutes. And that's so that I could give it a quick rise, and then I'll lower it to 350 for the rest of the time. So about 10 minutes at about 400 degrees, and then I'm gonna lower it to 350 degrees for another 12 to 15 minutes for the rest. Okay, so I just took the muffins out of the oven. I ended up baking them for 10 minutes at 400 degrees, and then for 15 minutes at 350 degrees, and look at them, look nice, perfect. And my bug man is actually just finished, so I'm gonna go ahead and pack them up. I bought these little boxes on Amazon and I just lined it with a little paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them in here. I'm gonna save one for my sister who's actually visiting right now. And then I'm gonna give him 5. So it made 6 total muffins. And they're pretty hot right now. So get my sheet and put this in. You can see that there. And there we go. I've got my 2 little boxes of muffins. I'm not going to close them because I don't want them to get wet once the heat condenses. But I'm going to give him these muffins. All right, so bon appetitas.